hood on.
Oh, and he had a hood on.
Yeah.
And evidently we have a prop that may impact the hairdo as well today.
There's a possibility.
It's the rainy edition of Real Talk.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. Welcome to Seattle.
I know. Can you know? I know you're. And maybe we talk about this on the show, and I'm curious if she's watching, if she can join us in the discussion. Is it not?
She's on the middle of a run.
Is it not demoralizing, this rain in Seattle?
You get used to it. It's like anything. You get used to it after a while.
Do you?
You know? Yeah. It's like you get used to living in the city and having traffic or gunshots or stuff. Right, my city, the city I grew up in, or having cops and all that stuff. You just kind of tune it out, or if something more related. If you're living next to help me out here, Speak Smith, next to a monopole for these things, cell tower. You don't see it after a while. You see it initially, then after a while you just don't.
Don't
see
those
it.
cause cancer?
Yeah, okay.
If you live next to them, is that not true? Did I see that?
I'm going to say that's not true.
Okay, that's not true, living next to the cell tower?
But maybe, and look, he's got a microphone in front of him.
You're saying Judah Wickower can look it up for us?
I think
living next to a cell tower?
What was the lady's name?
Erin Brockovich?
That's water.
Erin Brockovich, yeah, the movie.
It was water.
Did you watch that?
I did.
It was excellent.
It was water.
Julia Roberts.
It was water. But they did a movie back in the 70s about high tension wires that I can't remember who was in it, but
70s.
Yeah, not the 1870s, Jerry. 1970s.
Keith Smith, Jerry Miller, Judah Wickower. Real Talk with Keith Smith on a fun Friday.
What are we going to talk about today?
Buckle up and offer us a couple topics of conversation.
Please.
J-Dubs, we're in your hands, my friend. And if you can give us the cell phone tower tidbit. I'd certainly appreciate it. I'd like to learn. Judah can research things.
No strong evidence that they cause issues.
There is no evidence.
There is no.
There is no evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judah.
So the follow-up to that is sticking this next to your ear. Does that cause issues? It may have caused already in me, but
if sticking the cell phone next to your ear?
Yeah.
Makes your ear hair grow uncontrollably.
Say it again?
Makes your ear hair grow uncontrollably.
It's funny you should say.
That's not true.
Well, we won't get into this, but one of the root causes of tinnitus is that your hair inside your ear dying. Right? That's what actually causes. It also causes deafness. Right. What?
So that's that's like their dying screams. Years
yeah. Okay. So what are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk real estate. Good Lord, over there, depressing Danny's. Come on, depressing Danny's. Let's rock and roll and start the program. Judah Wickower.
Which one's that? Him or
We're
me?
in both of you guys over there. We're in your hands.
Well, you started it.
I'm the positive Peter here.
You started it.
Matthew Schultz, hello. Welcome to the program.
Did he not start with the C word first? Cancer word first?
Yeah.
What was the C word? Erin Brockovich?
No, cancer.
Oh, the cell phone
You started.
towers. I did start with the cell phone towers.
You put God and Smith down this road.
I did start with the cell phone towers. Ginny Who said, well, we'll talk about it when the show starts. Judah, let's go. Please, sir. Thank you kindly. I know, I saw. We saw. That's why generally in networks, they don't let you do that.
Quiet on the set.
Only this one, if people knew.
Maybe I don't want to be quiet, huh?
Yeah.
I've been quiet for 453 shows. Maybe this show I don't want to be quiet.
You're supposed to do this.
Oh, man.
This is one of a kind, this network. No rules. Here we go.
Oh, we got 3.
Good Friday morning, guys. Jerry Miller here on Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. Downtown Charlottesville is rain. I don't see Noah the Ark or 2 giraffes, 2 bears, 2 koalas, or 2 iguanas, but I do see a Judah and a Keith. So that means Real Talk with Keith Smith is live on a 10:15 time slot here in the I Love Seaville Network with so much to cover on the program. I have so much paperwork from hours of pre-production planning on this show and on this network for this fine and fair program. Keith Smith, 2-Shot. My friend, you walk from the Market Street parking garage to our studio next to the grocery store on Market Street in downtown Charlottesville. Talk to us about what you experienced. Your hair's still in perfect shape.
All I know is I saw 2 ducks looking at me going, what the F? I don't know what that means, but there was 2 ducks going, What the
How
F?
does your hair stay perfect, Keith Smith?
Oh, thank you for asking, Jerry Miller.
Keith Smith.
Are we talking hair secrets here?
No, he walked in the rain's got no problem with the dude. Look, ladies and gentlemen.
But I had a hood. I've got my April rain jacket, fancy jacket I bought out in Seattle because that's what you need to wear over there because they have 300 of these days every day.
I don't see how they can do it.
God bless them. That's I guess that's why there's a lot of breweries and coffee shops and stuff like that. So how's your day going so far?
Oh, it's going
Mr. Miller?
fantastic, man. The Friday edition of Real Talk, one of my favorites. We
Yep.
can get perspective from you, the viewer and listener, and weave it into the program. Scotty Moe, Scott Morris watching the program.
Hey, Scott.
As we are talking literally right now. I'm excited. I'm excited to see, the I word has become such a common word, inventory, in this market, that I'm getting asked the question, I'm not even a realtor at places around town.
So it's funny you should say that because this was not on my topic, but I did a group ride. At
Bicycle?
Pardon?
Bicycle?
Yes,
Okay.
on Monday. Half a dozen, maybe a little bit more than that, riders on it. And these were the first new group ride. Hey, we're going to do 30 miles, yada, yada, yada. And, everybody starts, hey, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And I said, yeah, I'm in the real estate space. And I say for 30 miles it was, so tell me about the market.
Yeah.
Tell me about inventory. Tell me about that. And,
You guys can talk while riding in the packs like that? Without bugs coming into your mouth? You ever catch a nice little mosquito or a nice little
it's
horsefly?
It's protein.
It's protein?
I don't have to take an energy bar. It's okay. It's protein.
Shoot it up.
It's good to go.
Yeah.
No. What happened with me, because there happen to be all guys, but these are gentlemen that are 20 plus years younger than me.
Okay.
So they're keeping a pretty steady pace. And
You're with the young bucks.
And I may have been breathing heavy, so try to talk and breathe at the same time. It becomes a bit of a challenge.
$4.95.
And then, of course, all the wise you-know-whats say, "Oh, let's slow down for the old man," and they slow down. But the point is, it's
Chris Fairchild in this group?
no.
Okay.
I'm trying to get him in, but
You're trying to get him to buy a bike.
I'm trying to get him a bike. He
Come
won't
on,
do
Chris.
it. He won't do it. I told him I would donate to his bike purchase.
Oh, he doesn't need you to donate.
I know
to
that.
his
That's
bike.
the reason why I said it.
Come on, Big C.
But in any event, so it's interesting. So, these half a dozen, 8 guys in this case, so tell me about the market, tell me what's going on and all this stuff. And it's an interesting thing because this never goes away, right? You're always on, and it's interesting. Yesterday I was like, oh man, I'm tired of talking about inventory. I'm sure people are tired of listening to it and blah, 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 blah. And I was going to go ahead and come up with a couple of memes. I was searching on, what's this thing called, Google?
Yeah.
This thing called Google?
The
right?
interwebs.
Google?
The interwebs.
Some memes, some fun stuff just to have a little bit of fun today. But yeah, we're 7 days a week, folks, even on a bike ride, 5 o'clock at night for 30 miles. I was talking about real estate for 2 hours, 2-hour bike ride.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the inventory is not going to pick up. And a statistic from the Wednesday edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith has resonated throughout this community. The all cash offer stat. Oh my gosh.
And you did that on Friday.
I
too.
put that I put that post up on Wednesday afternoon after your show. Talked about it on I Love Seville. Credited Real Talk with Keith Smith on the I Love Seville show.
Thank you.
This statistic, guys, and this was as of Wednesday. Keith did it live.
I did it live, yeah.
The mayor responded.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
What did the mayor say?
So I'll tell you what the mayor said. But this is from the Wednesday edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith. All shows archived at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
Some sizzle reels too.
Sizzle reels as well as data. Evidently, Riz Media says data's important.
Data's important.
I want to give Real Talk with Keith Smith some props.
Oh, stop it.
For 4 years, you've been ahead of where the market has gone when it's come to positioning the brand.
I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to try to.
You know that, right?
Thank you. I'm going to try to talk a little bit about new construction, but I'm going to let you finish because I think you're going to start seeing, you are seeing, and I think you're going to continue to see a pickup in new construction.
46% of the residential real estate deals done in the city of Seaville year to date have been all cash. 91 total deals, 42 cash.
Yep.
Albemarle County. Here's Albemarle County for you. 32% of the residential real estate deals done in Albemarle County year to date have been all cash. 269 total deals in Albemarle County, 87 cash. Recap, Charlottesville City, 46% all deals cash. Albemarle County, 32% all deals cash. Year to date, that was as of Wednesday. And then I thought the tagline or the little lead that I wrote was very fitting. The competition
Look at him
is,
smiling. He's so happy
competition,
and
I
proud
love
of
words.
himself.
The competition is fierce and flush.
Flush.
Yeah.
I like that.
Fierce
I like
and
that.
flush.
So why do you think that is, right? We've been doing 453 shows. Why do you think, I mean, I think this is a rhetorical question for you, but why do you think that we're a little bit high year over year, right? So we're up on cash units this year versus last year.
So Walt Davis Hall is watching the program and he commented on my post, the fact that you taught us on Wednesday. To answer your question, the reason I think more people are buying with cash is because interest rates went up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the logical
It's
answer.
a logical answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that if the interest rates go up, people may be more likely to deploy cash to buy real estate. Okay? When interest rates are low, people are thinking they can get a greater return on the market, stock market, or elsewhere with other investments than the 3% on a 30-year fix. So that's why they finance the purchase of a house when it's at 3 points. This is what Walt Davis Hall says, and I disagreed with him. He says, it just shows that 46% of the people in Seaville don't know how to invest. You never use liquid cash to buy real estate. You got a comment on that? I disagree with that comment. 1031 exchange is a perfect example of a disagreement there, of why you would consider using
but in
liquid cash.
in the residential world,
that's fair. That's fair. He's talking residential, maybe.
Yeah, in the
there's no 1031s.
Well, there is and there isn't, right? If you sell it less than 2 years, then yes, you run the risk of that. But most people will not sell unless there's some sort of emergency or absolute need to go ahead and sell. It's interesting. I want to give a shout out to the Earpies, right? Yona and I sat down with them as we regularly do on that Emergent Financial. And so Yona, and it's interesting, Yona and I actually went back on our heels on this advice because we historically pay double 2 to 3 times the amount. So in other words, if our monthly payment is X, we
disagree on this one here.
We pay that. But what they advised us to do was actually, instead of paying that money to that, put it into something that's making 5 or 6 or 7%. And they're our trusted advisors, so we're going to give it a shot for a while and see how it goes. But our mentality is drive that amount of money that you owe the bank down as fast as possible to build. You're building equity, but then your appreciation, right, that you have going in that end of it. Look, it's interesting.
Which is what we do.
It's interesting because I think cash was around last year. They just didn't use it for the exact reason you talked about.
The rates.
Right? The rates. I think you have to take a hard look at who the cash buyer is. So if the cash buyer has X dollars, right, but they're only using A, B, or C amount of it and keeping the balance in some sort of fund that's making money or that kind of scenario, I think you do that. You also have to take a look at the generational stats. A lot of these buyers are boomers, and you have this definite mentality when you start going over about 60 years old, right? Okay, great. I want to live in a house. I don't have to pay anything. I don't have to pay a mortgage. I'm just paying my taxes and my insurances. I got enough of cash to go ahead and live. I don't have to worry about mortgage, and I move on, right? When you're a little bit younger, it's a little bit different because you're trying to build up that equity, right, so that you can get to that point that you're 60-something, with great hair, by the way. 60,
great hair.
60-something.
Flawless hair.
Flawless.
And not impacted by the rain on the walk from the garage to the studio.
But that was about a half a can of. But anyway. So, it's different. It's who it is, and you're 100% right. But we're going to keep a track on that. I actually figured out how to actually track that on Paragon, so we can start tracking cash transactions. But I think as interest rates come back down, you're going to see those cash transactions drop down a little bit, and financing going up a little bit. But it's a direct impact, I think, of interest rates.
John Blair, welcome to the show.
Hey,
John, I'm going to bring up your post from Facebook from Wednesday that you left on my page of the all-cash offer mirage. The Wall Street Journal ran a good story. John Blair commented on a link that he wrote, he published in the comment section. He said there's a growing number of startup companies that put in an all-cash offer in your name.
Yeah.
Then the startup actually purchases the home and sells it back to you with a mortgage.
Yeah.
Which is
Well, so that's a direct impact.
of a competitive market and a way to compete with all-cash buyers.
Correct, which is a direct impact of lack of
Inventory.
Inventory.
Which is a direct impact of?
no new construction coming in the ground.
Which is
but
a direct impact of?
Hey, this coffee is really good today. The doctor said I'm not supposed to drink this with the meds I'm on.
I thought you would say something like elections matter.
Elections always
A
matter. So
homage to Neil Williamson.
not just cycle, but
Homage.
actually we're going to add an extra word to that. Contested elections matter.
Ooh.
Right.
Neil's
You
gonna
know,
like that.
If it's not contested, then it really doesn't matter, to be frank with you. So contested elections matter. But I think, so I've been digging into some new construction, henceforth let me
Oh.
see if I could do this without messing up the,
Judah Whitcower,
The
we
hair.
have a prop. Let's weave Judah in with
got
a
the
three-shot.
sleeves rolled up. Hold on a second. Let's click
Oh.
it. So it's tight. you know?
It's a smart hard hat.
Huh?
It's Do you got Keith on the hard hat on? For those that are streaming in their vehicles or listen to the audio version of the show, the star of this fine and fair talk show, Keith Smith of Real Talk with Keith Smith, is wearing a hard hat. And the hard hat has a Real Talk with Keith Smith logo on it,
And it may
strategically
pop off 'cause
positioned
it's-
at any time, at any time. But that is it by no means an indication of the quality of his construction or craftsmanship. The logo pops off. Hey,
Well-
the door is still good.
Yeah, it's
I know.
a
You fixed our door.
I know, I saw that. Thank
still
you.
good.
So it's a double-sided tape, so we'll see if it stays.
It looks good.
It stays up on there. So look, so I've been digging into this because some of the conversations around the water cooler in the industry, and some of the conversations I'm having now is one in particular is one of our fine sponsors, Stanley Martin Homes, and other of the larger builders. They're out now sniffing around. So you remember, like in November and December, it was like, oh my God, new construction evaporated. This is horrible. There was these clickbait conversations going on. And we talked about it, said, I'm not so sure that's going to happen in our marketplace. So it's happening in certain locations. So if you wouldn't mind, Judah, putting on slide number 1, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
So this is just single-family detached homes, and it's Albemarle, Green, Flavanna. I lumped in Augusta, Waynesboro, and Stanton into one, and Louisa. And if you take a quick look at the graphic there's only one county, which is actually my home county, that went down a little bit. It went down about $5,000 year over year. So the red color is last year, the orange color is this year. YRP orange colors. Look at that.
Look at
Was
that.
Did that impress you guys?
That was
I actually picked
very
the colors.
impressive. I noticed that, Keith.
There you go. So, but Albemarle County, got $125,000 uptick year over year. That's 16%. Green was 70%. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in volume because you're starting to see green pick up. So what I'm trying to get to here is what we've been talking about, Greene County being the new construction mecca going forward. I think you're going to see that. The next one is Louisa. Louisa was up about 15%, so that was just almost the same as Greene County, almost the same as Albemarle County. These are single-family detached units on it. There was really nothing of great substantial numbers for our friends in Nelson, right? So, I didn't want to go ahead and loop that in. But if you go to number 2, Judah, so really this is single family attached. There's only 2 players in the market at the moment. These are units that are selling, which is Albemarle County and Augusta, Waynesboro, and Stanton. Or Staunton. Staunton?
I think both work.
John will correct me.
Both work. John will correct you.
I'm going to pivot here for a second. I was looking at a video of
Oh, the ADHD's kicking in.
kicking in. So my 2.5-year-old granddaughter
Yeah.
has a Long Island accent.
Okay.
She was saying dog
Okay.
and coffee. So anyway, I kicked in there for a second.
My wife has a Long Island accent.
And isn't it
Still-
isn't it a great accent?
Still to this day has a Long Island accent.
We'll go back to that in a second.
8 years,
But I've been out of there since I've been 18.
and you still have the accent.
Lived overseas for a half a decade. Married an Austrian woman. Been living here since 1987.
Okay, it just does not go away.
There's-
It's just like
But
a
don't
French.
you find it endearing?
It's just like a French accent. It's very pleasing to the ear. The Long Island accent. It's almost the accent of a Romance language. The Long Island accent.
Good save.
No?
Because
Sincerely?
that's the first time I've ever heard a Long
Sincerely.
Island accent being
Sincerely
connected.
mean that.
Connect
Sincerely
Long
mean that.
Island, New York accent to that.
Sincerely
Okay,
mean
back to the attached stuff.
Okay.
So you're not seeing at the moment. You're not seeing anything in green, but you will. There's a substantial amount of projects that
I know. I can't. I keep missing it. I know. It's why do they
Samantha-
make it clear the straw?
Yeah, well, okay.
That's why I don't make it.
You know, you can watch this. You can look down, look at the thing.
I
and
know. I
put
try
it-
not to look down because I'm doing
Okay.
the show.
So I'm going to be tracking this stuff, guys. I think you're going to start seeing new construction up a little bit. Volumes are down like everything else
Yeah.
on it. That's a different reason volume is down is because there's lack of inventory. I think
Is there any reason for new construction to make a push to get stuff done or get stuff in the pipe before this affordable housing new criteria comes into play, or if it does even come into play? Does that influence the market or developers?
so we
at
got to
all?
be a little bit more specific. We're talking about Albemarle County.
Yes, Albemarle County.
Yeah. So yes.
Which let's cut to the chase. That's where the most opportunity for development is in Albemarle County.
Well, that's the whole purpose I was doing the numbers. I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out where it was actually tracking, right? And we've been talking, I've corrected myself. I was saying, Zion's Crossroads, and even though you're going to see some increase,
And now green.
and but green is really the rock star
Yeah.
of it, and you're going, if we do a show, when we do the show a year from now, you're going to see the attached product, the volume increase substantially in Greene County because there's projects that are in the ground, projects that are getting ready to get built that's the 400 or 500 unit range.
Wednesday's show was the first time I heard you allude to green getting potential NIMBY headwind down the road.
Look.
And you alluded to the many projects in the pipeline in green. And as these crack ground, those that are in green are going to be like, dude, pump the brakes.
It's a volume thing, right? And it's out of sight, out of mind, right? Most people, Neil, you and I, we geek out and watch all the stuff that's in the pipeline. When we talk about pipeline, we're talking about stuff that's in either rezoning or just
Percolating.
been rezoned and it's going through the construction process.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to get at is November, December, January. If you would have sat down and had a cup of coffee with some of the folks in the development game, most of them were pumping the brakes, right? Because we were worried. They were worried about what was going to happen. And I was actually in these conversations going, guys, this is not the time to pump brakes. This is the time, if you want to have product, you're going to see some slowdown.
And you were right.
I think I'm right, yeah.
No, you were right. There's not enough inventory. If the inventory was coming on market or coming on market soon, it would sell.
So
You were right.
you're going to see, I think, some self-imposed pumping of brakes here in the next couple of months for the builders. And I think because their lot inventory is now dwindling, their sales are increasing, right? And you kind of know that because the incentives that they used to be giving at the end of last year and the beginning of this year just evaporate. They're not there any longer, right? So that's usually an indicator of how the new construction market is going as these incentives, seller concessions is what we call them, in the biz.
One of the guys in the business, the Prince of Pantops, watching the program right now, Michael Plecker, one of the Shenandoah Valley's finest backstops. And Michael Plecker says, Keith Smith, does that hard hat have Bluetooth? And can you put it back on? Does it have Bluetooth? I don't think it has
I don't
Bluetooth.
know. It's just really.
It's pretty legit, though, Michael Plecker.
It's so.
Prince of Pantops. What do you think of the Prince of Pantops?
What do I think of him?
Yeah. No. What do you think of the moniker, Prince of Pantops?
It's two P's, so it works.
Yeah. Two-piece work.
Two P's work.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance, so this is raw data. I didn't get a chance to translate it into it, so he made me think about the other side of the mountain.
Okay.
And, to the Waynesboro thing. But so the single-family detached volume,
Yeah.
number of units sold on the other side of the hill, this is Augusta, Waynesboro, Staunton.
Staunton.
Coffee.
I say
Dog.
it's Stanton. Stanton.
Dog.
I'm going to go Stanton.
Stanton is how most people pronounce it.
I say Stanton.
So the single-family attached
Stanton's
sales
beautiful.
year
Try.
over year went up. So they're actually selling more. It's not a huge number. It's 11 versus 13. The same thing also happened with the attached product. Albemarle and all this kind of stuff, that their volume went down, but the other side of the mountain, not only did the prices go up, but the amount of units being sold went up, which is indicative of.
Look at him. Wow, indicative.
So-
if you're watching just listening to the audio
I gotta
version
stop.
of the show,
I was just impressed.
you
by-
had you missed a smile on Keith's face that was synonymous with what? Cheshire Cat reaching into a sleeve of Ritz crackers
So how
right
do we
next
go
to a tin of Cheese Whiz.
How do we go from dog to indicative?
What version of Alice in Wonderland are you reading?
Now, don't everybody ask me what
I
it
was
means.
waiting for that.
What did he say? I didn't hear it.
What version of Alice in Wonderland are you reading? Do you think many people even know the Cheshire Cat reference?
Probably not anymore.
Probably not.
I do. So, which is your favorite?
That's a
version?
generational gap right
What's your favorite version?
My favorite version.
there. And I hope you're on a 3-shot over there.
My favorite version of what?
Alice in Wonderland. And
Version.
don't say the book. Movie.
My
The
favorite
Cheshire
version of
Cat
the
is a
movie.
fictional cat popularized by Lewis Carroll and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and known for its distinctive, mischievous grin. Which is, can you do your distinctive, mischievous grin? That's not it right there. Now he can't do it. That's Judas.
That's kind of like sizzle reel.
I know, like sizzle reel. Your favorite one is what?
I'm not really sure. My favorite version? How many
Movie.
versions are
Favorite
there?
movie version of.
How many versions of Alice in Wonderland are there?
There's at least two I know of. There's the one with the Johnny Depp, and then there's the cartoon version from Disneyland back in the 60s.
I mean, Judah.
That's not a whole lot to choose from.
Okay.
Judah, I know he always
Can
does
somebody
this.
give
I'll
us
go-
a case
I'll go-
study,
Why does he
please?
always
I'll
do
go with the
this?
Johnny Depp one.
Why do you always do this?
What? Ask questions?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why do you
Back to you
always?
two.
Okay, boys. To quote Mazel Booker alive on the show. Okay, boys.
Yeah, she was hilarious. The Fluvanna County Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, she's retiring, which I'm sorry to hear. I've read an article about that.
Either she or her husband have been on the Fluvanna County Board of Supervisors
Oh.
for,
Decades.
like, I think it's like 50 years.
Yeah, decades. Very long period of time.
Yeah.
That family has been involved in Fluvanna County politics for a very, very, very long.
So
long
when
time.
when do Greene Countyans make the comment, hey, too much?
Well, it's
It hasn't happened yet.
no, because it's a visual thing, right?
Yeah.
So-
there was resistance on glamping, though.
There was, which one doesn't get, but
Right.
But it's different. It's change. Folks are sometimes resistant to that. But you'll see the brakes getting attempted. I think it's already attempting to be pumped a little bit on any new projects going through Greene County. But once it's out of sight, out of mind, right? Once units start going vertical. A prime example, Colonial Circle at Fluvanna County. So the apartments that are being built, there's one building that's framed in the roof, the other one is almost, so there's a couple more units going in there, and that same bike ride was one guy says, well, when did that happen? Well, it's been going on for 6 years. So what's happening here is these projects have been in the pipeline for 4, 5, 6 years are now starting to come to fruition. Is another big word.
There you go.
It was indicative in fruition.
Dude, you're on fire.
It's the coffee.
And it's not even 10:50.
I've learned that the meds I'm on, if they tell me not to drink coffee, I think they're lying to me.
Yeah, Keith's on meds. They said, don't drink coffee, don't drink Boost. Does Keith listen?
Well, I tried it for a week, and it made Keith a cranky guy.
How about this from Crystal Summers? I love your show.
Hey, Crystal.
Please wear
Thank you.
more props. The hat was absolutely fantastic.
All right.
Or should I say construction cap? What do you call it? Anyway, more of them,
It's called a
please.
hard hat.
It's called a hard hat,
Is she going to
Crystal.
ask a construction question?
Crystal, would you like him to dance like he was in the Village People, live on air? Young man. Judah, do you know the lyrics of the song? Can you sing them for us?
Could you please ask the question of the viewer, please?
No, that was her comment.
Oh,
She
I thought
loves
there was
your hat.
I thought there was a question.
Yeah.
I was all excited
No.
about answering
She's
a
giving you
question.
props on the
thank
hat.
You,
Yeah,
thank you,
Crystal.
thank you, thank you, thank
You're
you.
getting props from a
Pretty
lady on
See?
the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you
I
very
thought you
much.
would like that more than a question.
I do. Boys behave.
Okay, people giving you props over here.
Hold on a second.
Okay,
Yeah,
how about this one from Jonathan watching the program? Why would new construction start now if they can't find labor and the land's more expensive than ever?
Wow, that's a great question.
That's good.
So it depends on where it's in the process, right? So Colonial Circle, I know the project that is getting ready to get started in Greene County. That's somewhere 400 to 500 units. It's mixed between towns and single-family detached. So attached and detached was in the pipeline for many, 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 many years. So if a project starts now through the rezoning process and all that stuff, there's the spreadsheets or the bean counters are projecting that to get better 4 or 5 years down the road. So if they're looking at projects today, they're looking and they're prognosticating.
Yes? Ooh, gosh. You're wearing a hard hat and you're using SAT.
And I roll my sleeves up.
$20 word, you rolled your sleeves up.
$20. With inflation, is it still $20?
It's still $20. I think normally the phrase is $5 word.
Is it?
So
Yeah.
I 4X'd it.
Yeah, got it. In my sense, about 50 cents worth. But the
What
so-
he's saying is it's a forward-looking market. If they're cracking ground now, this was work that was done years ago.
That's exactly right.
And if they're trying to get permitting now, this is a project that's not going to start for years down the road.
well,
So today's conditions are not indicative of projects starting.
yeah. So back to your question about Albemarle County, right? And if the developer incentives do not get dialed in, which I think they will. I think they will. I think they will. I think they will. You know, you can twist that thing off and actually sip it without the straw. You know
I
that,
can't
right?
find the straw in my Yeti over here. I keep missing it. Imagine when I was wearing the Robin mask. I truly could not. Remember you were sitting across from me on Halloween? I like poked myself in the eye like 10
Okay,
times.
I'm old, but I'm not that old that I don't remember.
It's like 6 months ago, Keith. Do you remember that? Jamie Turner, welcome to the program. He's sharing a link from money.com, 10 states where it's now cheaper to build your own house than buy one. I'll get to that link in a matter of moments. Kevin Yancey's
Well,
got a comment.
that's why. There's two reasons why new construction
I think that's why he's sharing the link.
uptaked, right?
Yeah.
One is the lack of inventory. The other one is you know you could potentially buy equal on par. A year ago was the opposite, right? New construction was substantially more expensive than existing numbers.
This is
on
a
them.
fantastic link, Jamie Turner. I'm legitimately reading this for the first time on the program. This is from money.com this year, so it's actually, I would say it's very fresh. It's 2 months old, this link. What the research says, keep this in mind. Here are the 10 worst states for building, meaning the median priced homes cost less than building a similar new home.
Yeah, and we're not one of them.
We are not one of them.
I don't even have to look at that article, and I know we're not.
No.
We're not one of
Here are the 10 best states for building on the difference in cost compared to buying. We are on that list. The 10 best states for building: Virginia, 96G difference for building versus buying. Number 1, Cali, 205 Delta makes sense. Colorado makes
And
sense.
that's 2 months old data, right?
Yeah, probably gotten larger.
You're seeing this. You're seeing the market moving west to east, right?
Yeah.
You could potentially see this time next there's some of a reverse on it. But look, the reason Cali's so expensive, dirt's expensive. Regulatory requirements are off the charts expensive.
This is fantastic information. Virginia, our state in the country, is 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth best state to build, where the delta between building and buying, 96,000 in favor of building.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Basically saying it's more affordable to build a house.
and the where matters, right? Number one is location, right? The where matters.
The reality is, in this area, where are you going to build a house there?
Well, it's going to be Greene County, right? It's going to be Greene County.
There's choice lots you can build.
So what's going to happen, I think, is there's the other side of the hill, right? We've proved that. They've actually went up in number of sales. They went up in value year over year, quarter over, or year to date to year to date. And you're going to see Greene County, the volume in Greene County dropped, but that's because there wasn't product to sell, right? So I can tell you by the end of this year, the beginning of next year, when these developments are finished, like for instance, Colonial Circle, right? They've been doing the horizontal development for this year. Will continue the rest of this year before you're going to get any new construction, single family attached and detached, to actually buy, right? On that end, which would put it close to between 7 and 8 years between when the project actually started and when somebody actually can buy something. But let's face it, Fluvanna's not going to have any new Colonial Circles anytime soon. It's not going to happen.
Well, you don't have the political capital here. You straight up had one of your most influential supervisors on your show saying there's going to be no more new construction in Fluvanna.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. The business isn't going to go there, right? The for-profits and the non-profits, and you're going to start seeing the non-profit affordable housing affordability providers start looking in these surrounding counties.
Kevin Yancey, who, I call him the king of Waynesboro. We might as well call him the ambassador of Augusta County. He says they got 10x the dirt in the area to build.
10x the dirt. They have a favorable political process, local political process on it. They have the infrastructure, both from a transportation perspective, because they've got these corridors, 64 being one of them. The topographical layout of the area. I know.
That was so good.
That's
God,
number
you were
4.
on fire
That's
today.
number 4.
I am just, you're on fire.
Hold on a second. Let me tighten the hat.
You're on fire today.
It's the hat. It's the hat. It's the hard hat.
God.
The topographical layout works. That's the reason why Nelson County, even though it's a great county, love it. It's got, the best internet in the world, according to Jesse Rutherford. But you're not going to see development out there. It's topographically not favorable to build projects. You'll see some small stuff. Greene County is kind of limited too, because you start getting into some of the, the hilly parts of Greene County. So you're going to start seeing that happening in areas where things are a little bit more conducive. Number 5.
As the big words continue, the comments are flying in.
Number 5. They want me to use more big words, right?
We'll keep the hat on for sure, and the props. You've gotten another comment, this one from Twitter on the prop.
Is my thing there?
Yeah, no, it's holding up well.
good.
And it shows on the show.
Cool.
It looks like you're working for the Real Talk with Keith Smith Construction Company. And your sleeves are rolled up. Should you get a crystal ball out, or are we just trying to go out on a high note here? What do you got? What are you busting?
Yeah,
Look at that Costanza wallet.
You just talk.
Let me see how thick that wallet is. Show that. Put that on screen.
No.
Put that on screen.
Hey, do you have
What
your
is that,
vaccination card in your wallet?
What is that, all $100 bills in there?
Mrs. Smith does not let me have $100.
I do not have my Vax card in my wallet. Do you?
Yeah, I do. I carry it. I always carry my vaccination
Is
card.
that how updated is that vaccination card?
Oh, it's supposed to be updated?
So is that from 20? What year is that from?
Yeah.
What years?
Don't actually look at my driver's license, by the way.
What year is that vaccination card from?
22 was my last shot.
What month?
12, 15, 22.
Okay. It's relatively fresh.
Yeah. No, I'm all vaccinated up. I don't know why I carry it with me, but I carry it with me.
Yeah, that's fresh. That's
I'm
legit.
I'm trying to find my Class A contractor's license. So
You carry that in your wallet?
I do. I'm supposed to.
In your wallet?
I'm supposed to.
On your person?
I'm supposed to.
I didn't realize that. Did you realize that, Judah? I didn't realize that.
I'm supposed to.
I don't have my
I also got my real estate license
Let me see what that looks like.
in my wallet.
I'd carry that around. That's legit. That's your real estate license
That's
right
my
there?
real estate
Is that a
license.
piece of paper?
Yeah.
Okay. They do it fancy, huh? They got a little piece. Is it laminated?
Oh my God.
Aren't you just
Oh no, I can't talk new construction.
You don't have your Class A contractor.
I don't know. Let me see. I've got my
Hard Hat Keith does not have his Class A
I've got
contractor on.
Wow. What did I do? Okay. Anyway, Smith is diverting again. So the coffee and the meds that I have to shoot myself up every morning in the stomach is making the ADD worse.
The TMI.
Too much information?
Yeah, a little bit. This comment's come in. A lot of folks that are buying with cash are then refinancing into a mortgage or financing product.
Sure. So they use it
That's
as
from Thomas.
They use it as a vehicle to purchase.
To win.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are using this to get the best deal possible and a way to purchase, and then are financing with a mortgage. So we need to highlight that.
Yep. And that's the private sector company that you were talking about is a tool to help them go ahead and do that.
That's from Michael Holroyd. He says, I would guess a lot of these folks turn around and get a mortgage anyway after the sale is completed.
Yeah, so it's used as a tool to help get purchased, so you have less of contingencies in the deal, right? On that end of it, so you don't have a financing contingency, and it could be used as a tool, right?
Make the deal go faster.
Well, you can slide in
Yeah.
home inspection, right? Where you're going to say, hey, look, we're going to do this cash, right? Which means there's no appraisal, right? There's no what they call financing contingency in it, right? Here's my proof of funds. I've got the cash. I'm going to go ahead and do this, but I want a home inspection. I want a septic inspection, depending on where it's at, right? And whatever, if it's in the HOA, you get that anyway automatically. So actually, there's a couple transactions that we're working on that are cash. That's how the negotiations went, and then they're going to use their cash, wait for interest rates to drop down to 5%, and then just refinance it, take that cash out, put it back, making 6, 7, 8% or wherever it is in another vehicle. It's just a tool.
That's a good sizzle reel right there to offer some more insight right there, Judah Wickower. Mark that. That's sizzle reel number 2. We already got the first one. Both of them, interestingly, have you wearing a hard hat. The ambassador of Augusta County, Kevin says, Augusta County is the second largest county in Virginia. Interestingly, I did know that.
I did not know that.
Second largest county. What's number 1? Do you know number 1? Viewers and listeners, what's the largest county in Virginia? Do you, Keith?
So the geographically or with people?
Largest county in Virginia geographically.
I would not know that.
Close to 1,000 square miles. I just had to look this up. I did not know this. Pittsylvania County.
Pennsylvania?
The 5 largest counties in Virginia by size. No, Pittsylvania County is 1,000 square miles. Wow. That's massive. Albemarle County is also quite big.
So back on the new construction thing, and to Kevin's point, which I'm sure he's going to bring up.
Augusta's 2. He's right. Albemarle's 6. Did you know Albemarle County was 6?
I did not.
720 square miles. Pennsylvania County, 968, number 1. Augusta 2, 967. The difference between Augusta and Albemarle County is 247 square miles in size. Augusta's massive. Buckingham is 12.
Yeah. So, but the development is going to go around infrastructure, right? Where the water, where the sewer is, where the internet is, where the traffic, transportation infrastructure. But just an interesting thing: Augusta County right now has 30 new construction homes on the market to purchase, available to buy, and that's a combination of attached and detached. Most of it's detached. It's about 20 detached, 10 that. But if you turn around and look at, say, Greene County, just what's available
Yeah.
on that, Greene has 17, and they are all detached products on that end of it. So, you're starting to see these other counties' inventory, new construction inventory, pick up a little bit, and I think that's where it's going to go. And hopefully, Albemarle County, through the tutelage of Regional Housing Partnership, is number 6.
That was so good. That was so good.
Number 6.
I didn't want to distract you by calling that was number 6. That was good.
I'm keeping a track here.
Yeah.
On that end of it, I think after today's show, I'm going to quit for the day, cancel all my appointments.
You're a wordsmith.
Because I don't think it's going to get any better after
Professor Brad Wilcox from the UVA Sociology Department. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey.
Love you, Professor Wilcox.
that. Any sociology input would be great.
We would love any perspective from Professor Wilcox, who's just a fantastic conversationalist at Sunday cookouts and get-togethers. Let me throw this to you from Woody Fincham,
Hey,
a
Woody.
fantastic appraiser. He
The
says,
appraiser.
we do a lot of refi appraisals after a cash closing and sometimes before it even closes as well.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, literally, you can do that. It's actually a little bit of a hack here. You can do that the way the contract is written, right? I can go in, I can put a cash offer on there, but somewhere between the offer and closing, I can decide to do a financing deal as long as it doesn't impact the closing, right? So you had to close one way or the other, but if in the middle of the process, the buyer can change that. So I can go in and write a contract on your house for cash, show my proof of funds, win the day, get my home inspection because I'm winning the day because I'm doing cash. As soon as the contract is ratified, you pick up the phone, call Scott Morris, and say how much, I'm going to put 20% down, how much, yada, 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 and let that track concurrently. That's number 7, by the way.
That's 7. Dude, this is
Hold
a
it.
record.
That's this many.
It only has taken 400 and how many shows to get to 7?
It's the drugs.
It's the drugs.
Totally.
All it takes is some drugs, and Keith is on SAT words.
Yeah. So for those who may be just kicking in, I have to inject myself in the stomach with medicine every day.
I think you posted that on Facebook, didn't
Yeah,
you?
but that's the drugs that I'm on at the moment.
Yeah.
And mixing that with caffeine apparently is a good thing.
There you go. And it creates for great content.
There you
Woody,
go.
we love when you watch the program. We're talking real estate, we're talking counties, and we're talking where the market may go. Woody Fincham of Fincham and Associates. For reference, 200 square miles is 168,000 acres. So when Augusta County is nearly 1,000 square miles, think about that. If 200 square miles is 168,000 acres, and Augusta County is almost 1,000 square miles, that shows you how large this county is.
And that is part of why the new development's happening on that side of the hill, right? It's also, you have a valley. It's called a valley for a reason. It's flat, so it's easier to develop. And not to get too wonky on that, but the reason it's easy to develop on some less terrain, it's just a simple thing of sewer, right? Obviously you want to gravity feed your systems. When you start having to pump it around and stuff like that, it gets to be a little bit expensive.
Brian Hall says, Keith, do you expect any of the commercial buildings to be converted to residential?
So that's a great question. We had Quentin Beckham on Friday, and I meant to ask him about the commercial market. If Woody is still watching, let's throw this question to Woody if he's got time to respond to it. I think we're going to see 2 parts of the total real estate ecosystem get into a little bit of trouble here in the future. I think commercial is going to be one of them. I also think multifamily units. I really think, I'm talking 2, 4, 6 years down the road, I think we're starting to get to the point, I think, of overbuilding. I mean, Woody and I were having this discussion of multifamily units. Sunshine Mathon with PHA disagrees with me. I had breakfast with them the other day.
Okay.
But if you start looking at national numbers, I mean, multifamily new construction units are being built at a pretty awesome clip at the moment. I was going to go for word number 8, but I decided.
Awesome is good. Awesome is good.
I was
You're
gonna use
making a
a
good point here. Come on, finish this. Yeah, you're making a good point.
Yeah. So I think you're going to see that happen. That you're going to see that the multifamily units, X number of years down the road, are going to start hitting the brake.
Multifamily specifically what?
Apartments.
Okay. You think apartments are going to slip,
I don't think it is what I'm reading.
and you think there's a glut
But I think
locally.
I don't think we're quite there on locally. That's the reason why it's so far out that
I don't
way.
think we're in a glut of apartments locally. Talk to me about commercial. Why do you see softening?
But just to put a pin in that,
Yeah.
I'm talking years down the road.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You know, but I think at some point that the number of units are going to get dialed back a little bit as we start going forward on it. I don't know. It just feels like commercial might be wavering a little bit in our area. That being said, try to buy a piece of commercial property, it's impossible to buy.
Right. We have a waiting list,
Rents are climbing
right?
up through it.
Location matters.
Location matters.
Wise man told me that.
That's right. Micro markets really matter. So I think I
Find
would.
me a commercial building in downtown Charlottesville that you can buy.
I don't think I know.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think I know of any.
Yeah.
And most people who are renting right now, I have a couple of clients that want to buy. There's just nothing to buy.
Right.
That's
And
the
the
reason I
buildings
wanted
that do trade, and the buildings that do trade, and you know this as well as anyone, are trading in conversations.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean, you have to know somebody.
So that's the tricky thing about rentals, tracking numbers for rentals and commercial. There's so much off book
Right.
trading that goes on.
Yeah.
Buys and sell. It's very difficult to do it. Commercial, there's not one housed MLS. Residential, it does, right? So residential is easy to track on it, but the commercial is very different. You know, there's CoStar, there's LoopNet, there's all these different products to use to go ahead and do that, and some of them just never hit the market.
I think and obviously I have skin in the game with commercial here, but I think the type of commercial matters.
That's
here.
exactly right.
I think if you have a B or C building, and you're trying
You have to describe what the difference is.
If you have a building that's not a super sexy building, and you have a building that's not in a super sexy spot, so it's a B or C player because it doesn't have the amenities or it doesn't have the location, and you got some B or C properties around town, I think those, especially the ones that have had deferred maintenance, might be in for some trouble. But I think if you have a good location like the ones around downtown, they're in a good spot. And I think what I'm trying to do with the executive office, where I'm renting individual offices, 150 square feet, furnished, all utilities covered,
Yeah.
lock on the door,
Smart
waiting
idea.
room attached. I think that has a lot of momentum behind it, because I think we're going to head into a world where we may not need an office
I think
and
we're
a
there.
boardroom 24/7, but we're still going to need it to meet with people.
It's still, you're 110% right. Brick and mortar, so retail, right? And so what I would call Class A office space,
Yeah.
which is typical office, you know, the traditional go in, have.
The code building is Class A office space. That's a good example of Class A.
So it is and it isn't, right?
Why, how could it not be?
Well,
The office?
the office portion of it.
Yeah,
So some
that's
of
what
it
I'm
is
saying,
and some
yeah,
of it isn't. Some
yeah.
of it is your executive suite scenario.
Yeah.
Some of it
Work,
is
yeah.
I'm renting a whole floor.
Right, some of it's retail,
Yeah.
coffee shop.
So you're spot on, right? That's the reason why our office is in Studio X, right? I don't need a huge facility. I need a facility enough for our agents, and I need conference room space.
Yeah.
I need a place for a cup of coffee.
Right.
A little bit of Brazo.
You need to print something, you need a, you know what's interesting?
I just think there's certain sectors of the commercial that are getting soft that I think will continue to get soft.
We do how many tours do you think we have? 24 of the executive office spaces that we're managing. How many tours do you think we do a month, Judah? Maybe 3 or 4, 3, maybe 2. I don't know. Who knows what the number is? Half the people that are looking at the executive office space that are considering working from home, half of them say this: if I keep working from home, my significant other and I are going to get divorced. Or like, I can't continue to work and have like my kids running around in the room next to, it's still not there. It's still not dialed in.
And it won't be. So, I was doing work from home when work from home wasn't sexy, back in the 80s and 90s, because I had my office I converted my garage into my office when we were building houses before we actually got an office. And it is real. It was long before the internet. We had, I think, a string and 2 cups of coffee, and that's how you talk to people. And they had these things called fax machines.
Yeah.
Remember those things?
Yeah.
So, it's hard because you get distracted.
It's so hard.
Little Billy, little Jane,
Right.
or whatever comes in and bothers you, and you're trying to do this, or you're on the phone on it. But yeah, I think the executive things are a genius business move. I just think it's certain sectors of commercial, and I've been thinking to speak with Quentin about that, or anybody. I really want to get Johnny Pritzloff on to talk about lacrosse and commercial and see how that's going.
This is from Jason Howard, who's the king of Rio Road. You talked about a 6-year timeline for some developments, Keith. For an example, the housing that has been proposed next to the new Wawa on 29 near Greenbrier. Mm-hmm. If they get approved this month, how long until someone can actually move in?
So, great question.
Depends on the project. So specific to each project.
It is and it isn't, right?
Okay.
So I know a little bit about this project, right? Mm-hmm. So generally, when you're starting to look at projects that have substantial infrastructure construction, right? So let's talk about a real project, right? Colonial Circle, because I know it. I'm was helping consulting through it. Rezoning got completed. It took us roughly a year and a half to go through site plan process. So you've got rezoning, right? So once the project is rezoned, then it goes from the political process to a site plan process, which is a staff-driven process, right? There's DEQ, Army Corps of Engineers, VDOT, water and sewer, service authorities, so forth and so on, through all that stuff. So that whole process takes time to get what's called entitled. So right now in Albemarle County, my suspicion that's anywhere between as I'll give me a little bit of a spread here, that's probably a 1 to 2 years after it gets rezoned. And then depending on the size of the project and how it's put together, probably another 6 to 12 months, assuming they can't phase it in or however the construction methodology is going to go. So conceivably about 3 years before somebody can buy a home.
There is your third sizzle reel right there. Nicely done by Keith Smith. You just
Thank you for
created
that.
3 very succinct pieces of content.
And I didn't have my hat on.
And I didn't put the pressure on you by saying we're going to create a sizzle reel.
I hate it when you do that.
You got it right, and you crushed it right there. Woody Fincham is answering your question.
Yeah, thank you, Woody.
That you posed to him, and he says multifamily is overdeveloped, chasing high rents. Multifamily. He also believes retail is on thin ice.
Yeah.
He says in university towns almost always need multifamily. So local, the trend is different than national when it comes to multifamily. So he's not as worried about multifamily locally.
And 100% right. The national data I'm reading is, the market tends to do that, right? It's the shiny little thing. Let's start building more and more and more and more on it, on the end of it. But locally, you're 100% right. But think about it. We're going to have 1,500 units come up. Well, we don't know how many because UVA hasn't submitted the RHP. It's going to be the...
Is this Fontaine?
Yeah, Fontaine and across from the Draftsman, they have not submitted the request for proposals or quotes for the North Fork parcel, which is probably going to have some ownership component in it. So
the land?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to have some ownership component in it, not just all rental. So, there's a substantial amount of units. I think Woody's 100% right. I think in this town, it'll always rentals will always be there. I personally prefer to see more ownership so people can start building generational wealth. It's pretty hard to do that in a rental unit.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
the end of it.
And some of these other ones, they maintain ownership of the dirt.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. More comments come in, and guys, and leave them in the feed. I'll relay them live on air. Philip Dow in Scottsville says, Keith, as rent goes up and salaries go down, you will see more multifamily living. A guy that I work with in India, he had 10 family members living in the same condo. And I responded to that by saying, yikes.
10?
Yeah, 10 in a condo. Gosh, 10
Well,
of your family members living in one condo.
Well, yeah.
Props to them. I mean, that's sacrifice in helping them get ahead. But if I had to do that, Judah, could you live with 10 of your family members in one condo, Judah? I think Judah could live
Hell
in
no.
So,
Judah says, hell.
Judah, I just texted you something. So one of the beautiful things about doing this show,
Oh, no.
take a look at the email I sent you guys. My daughter from Seattle just texted me a picture of my granddaughter who's smiling, and the text is, Ravenna's listening, Pop Dad, and smiling.
Oh, tell her hello. Tell the family hello. We
Yeah.
can't wait to have and host
Yeah,
you
yeah.
on Real Talk.
You know what? She's going to be a great real estate agent. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Really excited
And
about
when's the move?
Well, I think officially they're going to be here in August, but we're closing it first or second week of June, something like that.
Okay. This family is getting closer and tighter geographically, and it makes Keith and Yona very, 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 very happy
We love it.
here in Central Virginia. You're very fortunate. You're blessed.
Oh, beyond what I can possibly say.
This comment's come in. So everything you guys have said on this show further indicates that the last 2 quarters of this year, the values will increase like we saw in the beginning of the year. Great. Sad face.
Yeah.
Kelsey, thank you.
Yeah. So it's double sad face. If you're trying to buy, I can tell you certain jurisdictions will have double-digit year-over-year gains. We're already seeing it in the first quarter, or the first 4 months and 28 days. And you're also seeing units decrease, volume of sales decrease, which is only going to put more pressure on the value. So to the point that I think we were talking about on Monday, it was Wednesday. Scott said the best time to buy a house was yesterday, right? Today's a really good day. Tomorrow's a good day also. On that end of it, get into it and get that appreciation building on it. If you don't have the cash, you have the cash. That's great. It puts you in a great position. We talked about a hack that you can go ahead and get the deal won and then refinance a little further down the way. Other than that, you have to stay in the game. I mean, I've got my daughter texting me from Seattle. We took us 13 deals to get there, and some of those deals we were competing against were 20. Most was over 30 offers that we didn't win, and we just stayed at it, and it's interesting.
Did you hear that, guys? 13 offers his daughter made. His daughter, son-in-law, and granddaughter
actually,
made
my son-in-law did it.
on a home in Richmond. They're moving
Yeah.
from Seattle to Richmond so
Yeah.
he can take a job in Richmond. 13 offers.
But they stayed in the game, right? And their mentality, because
some of those offers had some of those houses.
one was over 30.
over 30
was over
different families
One was over 30.
wanted to buy the house.
Baby's on screen.
I'm sorry.
Oh, your granddaughter's on screen.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That she.
They ended up buying the house. This is it just shows you.
It must be the hat she's smiling so much.
They ended up buying the house. Keith Smith went to the house in Richmond by Willow Lawn.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You look at it.
Walked through the house on FaceTime.
They're coming.
They put an offer without walking through it themselves.
Well, they had a trusted advisor.
You, their father,
Oh no, they wanted somebody else.
he was
No,
the
that's
only
somebody
one who
else.
walked through it himself.
Yeah.
No,
Actually, Yona was with me.
Okay,
Yona
Yona
was with me.
no home inspection.
Well, remember what we did, right? Yona walked through and did the FaceTime, and I put my hard hat on,
Yeah.
and tore through the house, and actually did have my Class A license with me that day,
Okay.
and walked through the house to make sure. Actually, brought a ladder, went up in the attic, and all this kind of great
it's
stuff.
amazing. I'm impressed.
Yeah, well,
I mean, you got it done.
But the point.
That's what my point is. You got it done.
And the point is
It's
to
do what you gotta do.
Kelsey. I know that she's frustrated, and I get it. Right, the whole ecosystem at this point is frustrating. Right, it's hard to make it happen, but stay in the game. It can happen, right? And the point I was about to make. I spoke to both of them yesterday because we got the appraisal back and we're working through the system, and I can't get into too many details, but we're going through the process of closing.
That was Liza. Good dog.
Liza didn't like this
I
train
don't know
of
if the
thought.
viewer and listeners can hear that. Though.
But I asked them, I said, so we went through 13 homes.
Yeah.
We saw many other homes. This
Right.
is 13 we put under contract.
13 you put an offer on.
Put an offer on, thank
Yeah.
you. We saw 2 or 3 times that amount
Right.
on it. And I said, so tell me what you think about this. Do you love this house over the other 12? And she says, absolutely. I fell in love. Literally, when we walked through the door, they fell in love with
When
the
they
house.
walked through the door
Virtually.
virtually.
They fell in love with the house and said, we're all in. Let's make this one work. So the 12 houses, they weren't quite 110% in. They were maybe 100% in. And we went that extra 10%. And it made it work. But the point I'm trying to get at is they are in love with this house. So are you disappointed you lost the other 12? No, I'm glad we lost the other 12 because I love this house.
There you go.
And it happens that
This
way.
is
It's
from,
a weird thing.
This is Erin King watching. She is fantastic businesswoman. Upper management at Feast on West Main.
Love Feast.
Me too. Feast is amazing. She says, Rick's her man, her boyfriend. Rick's the man too. Fantastic chef. She says, Rick and I are seriously considering moving in with his mom this fall when our lease ends to save and prepare more to buy something ourselves.
Yeah.
Respect.
And it's a smart move,
Yeah.
right? So when you take a look at if you Google National Association 2022 generational report for buyers and sellers, you'll find that the multi-generation home, which is what we're talking about right now, this is on the purchase side, right? People actually buying is up to 14% of the total sales nationwide. So that actually makes a lot of sense. Go in
That's
there
the multifamily point she's trying to make.
and save a little bit of money, and be able to put a bigger down payment down on it, which makes it a little bit stronger. Or
Well, especially since, like, if you were to, now she wouldn't have to put down last month's rent and security deposit if she was just renewing her lease. But folks that are like signing leases now, I mean, you take like the villas at Southern Ridge.
3 months.
$6,000 down up front.
it's 3 months, first, last, and security, right?
You call a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a den at the villas, $2,000 a month.
I think that's-
Security, first months and last,
You're
$6K.
between $6,000 and $8,000 out of
Yeah.
your pocket. Yeah,
That's a chunk.
yeah, and
At one time, you were buying houses with that kind of money down.
and you could still do that,
Wow.
but it's
Challenging.
well, you might not be. So this is why you need a trusted advisor and somebody who really understands the market by the minute on the end of it. Would I suggest making a play like this out in Buckingham County right now? Not to offend my friends at Buckingham County, but the answer is no.
Yeah.
Right? But if you get somewhere on the outer edges of where you're at here, it may not be the perfect location for you. It may not have the perfect features. It may not have the perfect conditions, but it works. And maybe that's the one that $6,000 or $8,000 helps you get in the game.
I mean, you just put, and walk me back if I'm not supposed to talk about this. You just put something in Mill Creek under contract.
Yep.
What was it 2-bedroom,
1 bath.
2-bedroom, 1 bath?
Yeah.
And then it
Went up.
moved.
It moved, yeah.
It moved.
Multiple showings,
That's-
multiple contracts.
I mean, is that the entry point for single-family detached in Albemarle County?
No, I think that was just.
Is there a step below that? Tell me
No.
Tell me if there's a step below that.
There's really not. No.
That's entry price point, right?
Well, I think that
For
was
single-family detached.
yeah. I think that's few and far between at a 299 mark.
What's that mean?
Meaning you're not going to see very much. The number's much higher. I could take a look at what the entry level is for single family detached in Albemarle County. The reason why we had 4 full days of packed showings.
I mean, it crushed it.
Because there's nothing there to buy at that
Price point.
At that price point, yeah.
Okay. Throw this to you.
That was a better way of saying it.
Yeah, you said it perfectly there.
Yeah.
Like how you said there. Jamie Turner.
You were thinking scissor wheel, and I screwed it up.
Well, you cleared it up at the end. Jamie Turner is saying, how did you get the sellers to wait till close till June with your daughter?
So in the category of I'd rather be lucky than good any day of the week.
Yeah.
So this is a matter of what trusted advisors do, right? I reached out to the listing agent before we saw it. Let me tell you a little bit about my buyer, right? We don't cross any lines.
Yeah.
It's my daughter. She's moving from Seattle, yada, yada, yada. Go through. So tell me about your seller. And immediately she says, look, my seller's moving to Italy and they need a little bit of time. I go, we can give it to you.
Yeah.
Right? So it was just a matter of having a conversation. Now, at the end of the day, the price is what made the difference. But the rest of the little pieces that come to that is what got it across the line. It was an accelerated escalation clause. We won it from that perspective because I got Woody involved in it. We did a bunch of homework. We figured out what the market was, and we said, okay, we got to go a little bit over. If you want this, guys, we got to go just a little bit over. But let's give them the rest of that information. So that's how we got it. It just pieced together wonderfully.
You are good at your job, my friend.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No, you are. I see it right now, and I'm not. This guy's the guy you want by your side when you're going through this, folks. I've been sitting across him for 4 years
Decades.
and change. 4 years and change. 90 minutes, 3 times a week. So we're talking 5-6 hours a week for
Unless I'm
4 straight
traveling.
years. He's the guy you want negotiating the deal for you. I take your daughter's giving you a zing here. How do you take Keith seriously with that hat? With that hat on, I love the hat.
I took it off.
The viewers and listeners love that.
Yeah. It's. I wanted to do something fun today, and just popped into my head.
He's doing a great job today.
At 4:30 this morning.
You have a great dad. You have a great dad.
You know what? You'll find this out as you move along in life with your 2 children. When you have awesome kids, being a great dad is easy.
You know what? You got me thinking about this. We were having those days, I think any parent can relate to this, where you're having a tough day with your kids. They're just not listening and being rascals. And
That's what Yona feels like every day.
nothing's going right. And then I think this was Saturday night. And I put my 5-year-old to bed. And as I'm closing the door to leave, he goes, Daddy, I love you.
There you go,
And then
man.
it was like that one thing for like that whole day.
Yeah, and you thought to yourself at some point, like, oh my God, I was a schmuck for feeling crappy the whole day.
I know.
And then you get that.
I know.
Schmuck, by the way, is a Yiddish word. Shout out to
Shout out to Judah on the
Judah on that. Yeah, it's
It's
great.
all you needed.
It's even better when you get to the world. Look, that is awesome.
Yeah.
But when you get to the world of being a
I
grandfather,
can't even imagine.
and you get a picture.
You give them back? Is that what you were going to say?
No.
I'm just joking.
When you get a text from your daughter while you're doing a live show, who's
We
out
put it on screen. I think
I-
Judah can put it back on screen.
on Seattle,
Yeah.
with a baby smiling, going, "Great job, Pop Dad." Thank you. Great
Your
job, Pop
granddaughter's
Dad.
on screen.
You know what? Life doesn't get any better than that. And tie it into real estate,
Yeah, you're one of your
Right.
favorite topics.
right?
Oh,
Now I'm going to screw it up. Thank you. I had it.
I wasn't sure that's where you wanted
I
to
had
go.
it. You knew where I was going.
No, not till you said and tied into real estate. Then I'm like, he's going to do that sun line that was in the
And
media.
and let's see.
Didn't your daughter in Seattle help you work that line out?
No.
Who was it? You and Yona?
No.
Or was it your daughter in Connecticut?
No.
Give the line. You got to deliver the line.
That was from an interview with Reese Media for my award that I won.
Okay, well, deliver the line.
Deliver the line. Okay. So I wake. I'm putting the hat on. Maybe the let's tighten it up a little bit so the brain cells work a little bit better
God.
on that end of it. One of the reasons I wake up every morning to do what I do. He's not looking at me. I get up every day. Are we on a 2-shot or a 1-shot?
I'm putting you on a 1-shot now.
Okay, got it. All right.
Oh, God.
Don't look at me.
I'm not.
One of the reasons I get up every morning to do what I love to do is I get to help people with one of the 3 requirements that it takes to get around the sun in 1 year. That is food, clothing, and shelter. I screwed it up. But
Real Talk with Keith Smith. Archived online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com.
If you were to go to the 2-shot, Jerry had his head.
I was trying not to look at you.
Yeah.
I know when you're making this line or trying to deliver this line, which I don't think I've ever seen delivered flawlessly.
I never
by you.
got it
I don't think you have. I know to look down. Do not make eye contact.
Yeah, man, it's why I wake up every morning. I wake up every morning to help people with one of the 3 things that are required to go around this sun in 1 year. Housing is what it is, then just food and shelter. But we get to help people do that.
That's good.
We get to help people do that, and that is my why. That's what I get up. Or I could just read Reese Media and the quotes a little bit better.
That was excellently executed right there.
I tightened.
Woody Fitchum says a hard hat for a hard head. I love you, Woody. Judah Woodcower is the director. Keith Smith is the star. Not only is Keith a broadcaster, but he helps people buy and sell homes.
Who knew? Huh?
This is who you want sitting next to you when you're buying or selling a house. And his wife, Yona, is super talented as well. Yes, Realty Partners. Boys and
Or
girls.
if you're riding a bike and you just want to know what's going on in the housing market, more
Call
than happy
him.
to talk about it.
There you go.
Love talking about it.
I Love CVille show in 58 minutes. For Judah Woodcower, Keith Smith, my name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. Take care.
And look at that, stayed on the whole show.
That was amazing. I was shocked that it stayed on the whole show. Nicely done today, Keith.
I may or may not have a little bubble gum stuck in there.
That was so fun.
That's what we wanted to do, have fun.
Oh, gosh.